Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're cutting straight to the core of a book that has transformed millions of lives around the globe. Dale Carnegie's timeless guide, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
It's truly remarkable, isn't it? This book, first published way back in 1937, started with, well, a pretty modest print run, just 5,000 copies.
Wow.
But it became an overnight sensation. Sold over 10 million copies quickly in 36 languages. I mean, its enduring relevance today really says something about its insights.
Absolutely. And our mission in this deep dive is really to extract the most potent nuggets of knowledge from this incredible resource. We're going to explore how its principles, backed by some surprising facts and compelling real-world examples, can offer you a powerful shortcut to truly understanding and navigating human relations.
And we'll try to go beyond just recounting the stories. We want to connect the practical how-to directly to the why it works, sort of illuminating the underlying human psychology that makes these principles so effective. You'll hear examples that truly bring these concepts to life.
How to make people like you instantly.
So how did Carnegie even arrive at these, groundbreaking insights? Was it just a flash of genius, or was there a deeper origin to all of this material?
Oh, it definitely stemmed from a very practical and profound realization. There was this big 2-year survey, cost $25,000 back then, run by the University of Chicago and the United YMCA schools.
Okay.
And it found something quite striking. After health, the second biggest thing adults were interested in was learning how to understand and get along with people.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. And Carnegie himself, he'd been searching for a practical handbook on this for years. Couldn't find one. So he decided to create it. He actually hired a researcher for 18 months.
Really?
Yeah, just to meticulously study biographies, psychology texts, history, looking for patterns in how great leaders successfully dealt with people. This book wasn't just written. It essentially grew as a child grows.
Yeah.
From simple rules on a postcard and the whole guide it became.
That's a powerful foundation, isn't it? It just underscores how universal this need for human connection and understanding really is. Okay, let's jump into the first set of principles, all focused on making people like you instantly.
Become genuinely interested in other people.
Right. This one might seem deceptively simple, but its impact is profound. Take Edward M. Sykes, Jr., a sales representative. He kept this crucial account, not by hard selling, but just by consistently taking a few minutes to chat with the soda clerk and the sales clerk before even approaching the store owner.
Just greeting the employees.
Exactly. The owner was so surprised and frankly pleased that Sykes was one of the few salespeople who even bothered, and he doubled his usual order because of it.
That story really highlights how simple gestures can yield huge returns. And it's not just about business, right? It's about life itself. Consider George Dyke, known as Uncle George, the fiddle scraper from Kinzua County. Forced into retirement at 72, felt lost. But he started going to music competitions. And by genuinely engaging with the musicians, learning their backgrounds, their interests, he created a whole new fulfilling life for himself. He wasn't even a great fiddler himself, but his sincere interest in others opened up this vibrant new world.
And what emerges from these stories, I think, isn't just a technique for connection. It's a profound understanding that everyone, regardless of their status or background, they hunger for genuine attention. It really highlights how powerful it is to shift your focus entirely from your agenda to their world.
Smile.
Okay, so once you're genuinely interested, what's a simple, immediate way to convey that? The humble power of a smile costs nothing, creates so much.
Yeah, actions truly speak louder than words, don't they? And a genuine smile communicates, I like you, you make me happy, I'm glad to see you. It's kind of like how a dog nearly jumps out of its skin with joy just to see you. Dr. Stephen K. Sproul, a vet, he told this story about how a baby's pure, genuine smile in a tense waiting room just transformed the entire atmosphere. It led to pleasant conversation among complete strangers.
Right, but it's clear we're not talking about a forced grin here, are we? This has to be about authenticity.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're talking about a real, heartwarming smile that radiates from within. Psychologist James V. McConnell noted that people who smile manage, teach, and sell more effectively, and to raise happier children. It's not just like an accessory. It's a fundamental tool for connection and effectiveness.
Remember that a person's name is, to that person, the sweetest and most important sound in any language.
This principle is such a simple yet incredibly powerful complement. And we think about Jim Farley, who managed Franklin D. Roosevelt's campaign back in '32. He famously could call 50,000 people by their first names.
50,000. Wow.
Yeah. He had this methodical system, learn their full name, facts about their family, business, political opinions. Then, the next time he saw them, maybe even a year later, he'd shake hands and ask about their family or, their hollyhocks. It's no wonder he developed such a loyal following.
And forgetting or misspelling a name can be a sharp disadvantage precisely because a person's name is so tied to their identity, right?
Carnegie himself shared an anecdote about a bank manager in Paris who sent this scathing rebuke just because his name was misspelled on a form letter.
It's true.
This simple detail, remembering a name, it often makes people feel seen and valued.
Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves.
This one feels almost counterintuitive for many of us, doesn't it?
Okay.
We want to jump in. Carnegie tells this story about being at a dinner party, maybe a dozen guests, including a botanist.
Okay.
He knew nothing about botany, so he basically ignored everyone else and just listened intently to the botanist for hours, asking questions. At the end, the botanist called Carnegie a most interesting conversationalist, even though Carnegie had barely said a word. It's striking, isn't it? How profoundly listening intently is one of the highest compliments you can pay someone. As Jack Woodford wrote, "Few human beings are proof against the implied flattery of rapt attention." The impact of truly listening is just profound because it fulfills that fundamental human need to be heard and understood.
That makes so much sense. We often rush to talk about ourselves or offer solutions, but the act of simply being present and listening, well, it seems to hold immense power.
Indeed. There's the story of Robert telling his mother, Mrs. Esposito, "I really know you love me because whenever I want to talk to you about something, you stop whatever you are doing and listen to me." It's fundamental. And meeting that need can even resolve major conflicts. Think about Mr. Deppner, the manager at Deppner Wooling Company.
Right, the angry customer.
Exactly. Faced this vicious customer, refused to pay, vowed never to buy again. Instead of arguing, Deppner just listened patiently, no interruptions, for a long time. Then he sympathized, thanked the man for coming in, admitted the company might be wrong, even recommended other wool suppliers. The customer was so disarmed he paid the bill, stayed a loyal friend and customer, and even named his son Detmer.
Incredible.
Talk in terms of the other person's interests.
This connects directly to that power of listening we were just talking about. Theodore Roosevelt, as president, he understood this intimately. He'd often stay up late researching subjects he knew his visitors were interested in. He understood that the royal road to a person's heart is to talk about the things he or she treasures most.
It's absolutely about genuine engagement on common ground, not manipulation. William Lyon Phelps, when he was just 8 years old, experienced this. A New York lawyer visited and talked to him about boats for hours, even though the lawyer himself cared nothing for them.
Why would he do that?
Well, his aunt later explained, because he is a gentleman. He saw you were interested in boats, and he talked about the things he knew would interest and please you. He made himself agreeable.
That's a beautiful example of putting someone else's interests first. And Edward L. Chalif, needing that donation for the scout trip,
Right.
instead of asking for money directly, he spent time talking about the corporation president's passion-rare old Japanese prince. The president was so pleased by the shared interest, he didn't just enjoy the chat, he actually phoned Chalif days later asking for samples and prices and became a client.
It works. Connecting on their interests opens doors.
Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely.
This really gets to the heart of human motivation, doesn't it? John Dewey observed that the deepest urge in human nature is the desire to be important. William James called it the craving to be appreciated. Carnegie argued this fundamental urge is what separates us from animals and is, well, responsible for civilization itself.
And the golden rule sums it up perfectly. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. This isn't just about good manners, it's like profound human psychology. Think about Ronald J. Rowland, the arts and crafts teacher.
Oh, the story with Chris.
Yeah, he noticed this shy, quiet student, Chris. He asked Chris if he'd like to be in the advanced class, a big status symbol. Chris, just 14, was overwhelmed, couldn't believe it. Me, Mr. Rowland. Am I good enough?
And Roland just said,
Roland's sincere, "Yes, Chris, you are good enough," visibly transformed the boy, made him stand 2 inches taller, eyes bright, inspired him to excel.
That's a powerful illustration of the ripple effect of genuine appreciation. And the impact in business can be phenomenal, too. James Adamson, wanting to supply chairs for George Eastman's new buildings.
Right, Eastman was known to be tough.
Exactly. Warranty was busy, rigid. Adamson started the meeting simply by admiring Eastman's office, especially the woodworking. Eastman, clearly proud of his office, his philanthropy, ended up spending hours with Adamson, showed him around, and eventually just offered him the entire order. Adamson didn't even have to ask. It all started with sincere appreciation. Recap for part 1. How to make people like you instantly. Okay, so let's quickly recap part 1. These are the 6 powerful principles that help you make people like you.
First, become genuinely interested in other people.
Second, smile. A real one.
Third, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language.
Fourth, be a good listener. Really encourage others to talk about themselves.
Fifth, talk in terms of the other person's interests. Find that common ground.
And sixth, make the other person feel important and, crucially, do it sincerely.
How to win people to your way of thinking.
Okay, we've explored how to become instantly likable, which is huge. But what happens when you need to persuade someone? When logic clashes with emotion and you need to shift a perspective. That's kind of the tightrope we walk in part 2. Carnegie gives us 12 principles here for winning people to your way of thinking.
Right. And to connect this to the bigger picture, we really have to first understand a fundamental aspect of human nature. People, even, criminals like Al Capone or Two Gun Crowley, they rarely blame themselves for anything. So criticism is almost always futile. It just immediately puts people on the defensive, wounds their pride, and arouses resentment. B.F. Skinner's experiments proved it. Animals, and by extension humans, learn better when rewarded for good behavior, not punished for bad. As Hans Selye wisely said, as much as we thirst for approval, we dread condemnation.
That's a crucial insight, isn't it? We're not dealing with creatures of pure logic. We're complex beings, driven deeply by emotion, by pride, by vanity.
The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it.
Yeah, Carnegie himself told a story about correcting a man at a dinner party who mistakenly quoted Shakespeare as being from the Bible.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Even though Carnegie was factually right, it made the man deeply uncomfortable. And it certainly didn't make the man like Carnegie anymore.
It's a simple truth, really. If you win an argument, you often make the other person feel inferior, you hurt their pride, you've won the point, maybe, but you've lost their goodwill, possibly the relationship. There's the example of the truck salesman.
Right, who used to argue fiercely.
Exactly. When customers preferred a competitor's truck, he realized he was just losing sales constantly. So he changed his approach. He started by agreeing with the customer's choice, which completely disarmed them. Then he gently pivoted to his own product's merits. He later confessed, "I lost years of my life in scrapping and arguing. I keep my mouth shut now. It pays."
Show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, "You're wrong."
Theodore Roosevelt, a brilliant strategist, he only expected to be right about 75% of the time.
Only 75%.
Yeah. So if even he had that standard, why should we insist others are flat out wrong? Telling someone they're wrong, even subtly, it attacks their intelligence, their judgment, their self-respect. It immediately makes them defensive and resistant. Our ideas become so deeply intertwined with our self-esteem.
It's like Galileo wisely observed. You cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him to find it within himself. And Socrates, the master of inquiry, knew one thing only I know, and that is that I know nothing. Ben Franklin, early in his life, he was apparently a blundering youth who argued incessantly.
Really? Ben Franklin?
Yeah. But after being rebuked by an old Quaker friend, he transformed. He made it a rule to forbear all direct contradiction and use these tentative phrases like, "I conceive," or "it so appears to me." This subtle shift helped transform him into one of America's most influential figures.
If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically.
This is such a powerful disarmer, isn't it? Carnegie himself experienced this with that mounted policeman, remember, reprimanded him for letting his dog run loose without a leash in the park.
Right. Instead of arguing,
Carnegie immediately admitted his fault. "Yes, I know it is, but I didn't think he would do any harm out here." The policeman instantly softened, almost took Carnegie's side, let him off, even suggested he let the dog run over the hill there where I can't see him.
It's just far better to beat the other person to it, right?
Wow.
Say all the derogatory things they're thinking before they can. This generous, forgiving attitude will often minimize your mistakes and actually gain respect. Like that accountant who admitted his mistake to his boss.
Yeah, the boss kept trying to blame others.
Exactly. And each time, the accountant just reiterated, "Nope, it was my fault." Finally, the boss said, "Okay, it was your fault. Now straighten it out." The error got corrected, and the accountant felt great, having earned his boss's respect through honesty.
Again, in a friendly way.
Woodrow Wilson offered some really powerful advice for this. He said, "If you come at me with your fists doubled, mine will double as fast as yours. But if you come to me and say, Let us sit down and take counsel together. We will presently find that we are not so far apart. It's that drop of honey that catches a person's heart.
That really illustrates the core idea. Think about John D. Rockefeller Jr. facing those striking miners who, deeply resented him. His opening speech was just a masterpiece of friendliness. He used phrases like, "I am proud to be here, not as strangers, but as friends," emphasizing mutual interests. He managed to calm those tempestuous waves of hate and ultimately won them over, simply by initiating with goodwill.
Get the other person saying yes, yes immediately.
Harry A. Overstreet describes how a no response creates this physical and psychological state of rejection. The whole neuromuscular system sets itself on guard against acceptance. But a yes response, that creates an accepting, open attitude. This technique is ancient, really. Socrates, the gadfly of Athens, famously used his Socratic method.
Asking questions they had to agree with.
Exactly. He'd ask questions his opponent had to agree with, accumulating those yeses, until, almost without realizing it, they embraced his conclusion.
That's a fascinating psychological insight. And James Eberson, the bank teller, he used this to get a new customer, asked a series of questions designed to get yes responses right from the start, gradually led the customer to agree to his suggestion. The customer apparently forgot the issue at stake and was happy to do all the things I suggested. It's about building that path of agreement.
Let the other person do a great deal of the talking.
Most people, right, when trying to persuade, tend to do way too much talking themselves. But the power often lies in letting the other person talk themselves out. They generally know more about their own business, their own problems, than you do.
Consider GBR, that manufacturer's representative. He secured a $1.6 million contract after losing his voice from laryngitis.
He couldn't talk.
Could only squeak. It forced the company president to do all the talking for him, praising his samples, defending his position. GBR's sole participation consisted of smiles, nods, and a few gestures. He firmly believed he would have lost the contract if he hadn't lost his voice, because it forced him to let the other person talk.
That's a remarkable example of necessity leading to discovery. And this principle also applies beautifully at home, doesn't it? Barbara Wilson's relationship with her teenage daughter Lori improved dramatically when she just stopped lecturing and started truly listening. Allowed Lori to express all her thoughts, her confusion about growing up. By simply creating that space, she fostered connection.
Let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers.
We all have more faith in ideas we discover ourselves than those simply handed to us on a plate, don't we? Instead of, ramming your opinions down throats, it's often wiser to make suggestions and let the other person think out the conclusion themselves.
Right. Adolf Seltz, the automobile sales manager, he revitalized a discouraged sales team by calling a meeting and asking them what they expected from him. Then, what he had right to expect from them.
So they set their own standards.
Exactly. The salespeople made their own commitments, loyalty, initiative, teamwork, and sales increased phenomenally. They felt it was their moral bargain, an idea they themselves had forged.
That's powerful. Eugene Wesson, selling textile designs, lost thousands before he learned this, stopped pushing his own designs, started asking stylists for their ideas, then incorporated those ideas into his sketches.
And the stylists loved them.
They loved them because they felt the designs were their own. Sales boomed.
Even Colonel Edward M. House, that advisor to President Wilson, revealed his secret. He said, "I learned the best way to convert him to an idea was to plant it in his mind casually, so as to get him thinking about it on his own account." House would then let Wilson present the idea as his own. He didn't care about the credit, only the results. It highlights that deep human tendency to champion what we believe we've discovered.
Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view.
Henry Ford articulated this so beautifully. If there is any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. Yet, incredibly, Carnegie estimated 90% of people ignore this 90% of the time.
It's true, isn't it? Think about the countless times you've received letters or emails that only talk about the sender's problems or desires. Like that advertising agency that just yapped about its company desires to busy radio station managers worrying about mortgages and high blood pressure.
Or the freight terminal describing his difficulties, not the customers, when asking for earlier deliveries.
Right. They failed because they never truly considered the recipient's viewpoint.
And what's striking here is how Barbara L. Anderson used this principle to land a job. She wanted to move to Phoenix for her son's health. Wrote to 12 banks. But instead of saying what she wanted, she wrote about how her 10 years of bank experience could help them meet their goals, contribute to their growth and profit.
framing it through their lens.
Exactly. 11 of the 12 banks invited her for an interview.
Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires.
Carnegie offered what he called a magic phrase for this. I don't blame you one iota for feeling as you do. If I were you, I would undoubtedly feel just as you do. He argued that, well, 3/4 of people are hungering and thirsting for sympathy.
It's incredibly powerful because it validates their feelings before you present your own perspective. Remember Jay Mangum from the elevator maintenance company?
Meeting the 8-hour repair.
Yeah, but the hotel manager only wanted a 2-hour shutdown. Mangum didn't argue. He said, Rick, I know your hotel is quite busy. I understand your concern. Validated him first. However, our diagnosis shows that if we do not do a complete job now, your escalator may suffer more serious damage, a much longer shutdown. I know you would not want to inconvenience your guests for several days.
And the manager agreed immediately.
Right. An 8-hour shutdown was suddenly much better than several days of disruption. Sympathy paved the way.
Appeal to the nobler motives.
People generally hold themselves in high regard, don't they? They prefer to be seen as fine and unselfish. And this is the nobler motive we can appeal to.
That landlord, Mr. Farrell, facing the tenant wanting to break a lease, he knew it would be hard to re-rent. Instead of threatening, he appealed to that nobler motive. He talked about how the tenant was a person of his word, how he signed the lease because he was a person of character.
Giving him a reputation to live up to.
Precisely. The tenant later came in, paid his rent, decided to stay. He concluded that the only honorable thing to do was to live up to their lease.
It's about giving them a graceful way to do the right thing, letting them save face and reinforce their own positive self-image. John D. Rockefeller Jr. didn't yell at photographers snapping pictures of his kids.
Oh, yeah.
He appealed to their paternal instincts. You know how it is, boys. You've got children yourselves, and you know it's not good for youngsters to get too much publicity. It resonated deeply with their own values.
Dramatize your ideas.
Sometimes just words aren't enough, right? To capture attention or really convey a message, you need to make your ideas vivid, memorable, impactful.
The Philadelphia Evening Bulletin faced that rumor about having too much advertising, too little news. Instead of just printing boring figures, they took all the reading matter from one average day, classified it, and published it as a 307-page book called One Day.
Wow, a whole book.
Yeah. It dramatically proved how much news they actually carried. It made the abstract completely concrete.
That's an incredible way to turn a statistic into a story. Or Jim Yeamans selling cash registers for NCR. He convinced a grocer to replace his old machines by throwing a handful of pennies on the floor.
Just threw them.
Yeah. Said, you are literally throwing away pennies every time a customer goes through your line. The sound of pennies hitting the floor instantly grabbed the grocer's attention, secured the sale where mere words might have just failed.
Throw down a challenge.
People are intrinsically drawn to the game, aren't they? The chance for self-expression, to prove their worth, to excel, to win.
Charles Schwab used this masterfully with that mill manager whose workers weren't meeting quotas. Schwab didn't yell or threaten. Instead, he asked the day shift how many Heats production units they'd made, and wrote a big 6 on the floor with chalk, and just left.
And the night shift saw it.
Exactly. The night shift came in, saw the 6, immediately rubbed it out, replaced it with a 7. The day shift came back, saw the 7, responded with a 10. Soon, the mill was out producing all others. Schwab had turned work into a motivating game.
That's a powerful lesson in motivation. When Al Smith was governor of New York, he needed an Iron Man to rule Sing Sing prison amidst all those scandals. Sent for Lewis E. Laws. He didn't just offer him the job. He threw down a challenge, described how tough, how dangerous the job was.
And Laws took it.
Took the challenge, stayed, became the most famous warden of his time, implemented groundbreaking humanizing reforms. The challenge ignited something. Recap for part 2. How to win people to your way of thinking. Okay, so when you're looking to influence others, win them to your way of thinking. Remember these 12 principles.
1. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it.
2. Show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong.
3. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically.
4. Begin in a friendly way. That drop of honey.
5. Get the other person saying yes, yes immediately. Build agreement.
6. Let the other person do a great deal of the talking. Listen more.
7. Let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. Ownership matters.
8. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view.
9. Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. Validate them.
10. Appeal to the nobler motives.
11. Dramatize your ideas. Make them vivid.
And 12. Throw down a challenge. Engage the spirit of competition.
Be a leader. how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment.
Finally, let's explore one of the trickiest aspects of human relations: how to be a truly effective leader, how to guide others, change behavior without causing resentment or offense. These are crucial skills for anyone in a position of influence, really, whether at work or at home.
Indeed. A leader's job often involves these difficult conversations, right? And these principles offer a smoother, much more effective path, focusing on preserving dignity and fostering genuine improvement.
Begin with praise and honest appreciation.
This principle acts like that spoonful of sugar, doesn't it? Makes any critique that follows much easier to swallow. President Calvin Coolidge, silent cow, he once told his secretary, "That's a very pretty dress you are wearing this morning, and you are a very attractive young woman."
Ah!
After she blushed, he added, "Now don't get stuck up. I just said that to make you feel good. From now on, I wish you would be a little more careful with your punctuation." He praised, then subtly corrected, preserving her self-esteem.
It's striking how praise really acts like Novocaine before, the dental drilling. McKinley used this too. A young congressman came to him with this long, prepared speech. McKinley praised it magnificent, splendid, before gently asking if it was quite suitable to this particular occasion and suggesting he write another one. The congressman, feeling appreciated, took the feedback well and became a very effective speaker.
That's tact at its finest. And Dorothy Wroblewski, the credit union manager, applying this with that teller trainee struggling to balance her cash drawer.
Instead of firing her.
Right. Instead of firing her, as others suggested, Wroblewski praised her for being friendly, outgoing with customers, accurate with transactions. Only then did she gently suggest reviewing the balancing procedure. With that confidence boost, the teller quickly mastered the task, eager to live up to the praise.
Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly.
Charles Schwab again found employees smoking under a no smoking sign. Instead of scolding them, he just gave each man a cigar and said, "I'll appreciate it, boys, if you will smoke these on the outside."
Subtle.
Very. They knew he knew, but they admired him for his tact. No direct reprimand, no resentment.
And John Wanamaker, touring his department store, saw a customer waiting, ignored while salespeople chatted, didn't say a word. He quietly served the customer himself, then handed the purchase to the salespeople to be wrapped, made his point without a single direct reprimand. It was this powerful, silent demonstration.
And here's a subtle but really useful shift in language. Just changing but to and. It can work wonders. Instead of saying, "We're proud of you, Johnny, for raising your grades this term. But if you had worked harder on your algebra," which kind of negates the praise.
Right, the but erases everything before it.
Exactly. Try. "We're really proud of you, Johnny, for raising your grades this term. And by continuing the same conscientious efforts next term, your algebra grade can be up with all the others." It preserves the positive feeling and encourages improvement.
Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person.
This instantly disarms people, doesn't it? Carnegie himself, when pointing out mistakes to his secretary, Josephine, would say something like, "You have made a mistake, Josephine, but the Lord knows it's no worse than many I have made. You weren't born with judgment. That comes only with experience, and you are better than I was at your age."
By first acknowledging your own imperfections, you create this sense of shared humanity, reduces defensiveness. Frank W. Garmager, a manager at GE, helped a typist with spelling errors. How? By first showing her his own spelling book.
Admitting his own struggles.
Yeah, shared that he'd always struggled with certain words, knew how misspellings looked unprofessional. By admitting his own struggle first, he made her receptive to correction, built trust instead of resentment.
Ask questions instead of giving direct orders.
Owen D. Young, a top executive, apparently almost never gave direct orders. Instead, he'd say things like, "You might consider this," or "Do you think that would work?" He'd ask for feedback on letters. "What do you think of this?"
Giving them ownership.
Exactly. This approach gave people the opportunity to do things themselves, preserve their pride, encourage cooperation, because they felt a sense of ownership over the solution.
That's a masterclass in gentle guidance. Dan Santorelli, the teacher, saw an instructor scream at a student to move his illegally parked car, caused resentment among all the students. Santorelli noted that just a friendly question like, "Whose car is in the driveway?" followed by a suggestion of why it should be moved, would have worked perfectly without upsetting anyone. It's about empowering choice, not demanding compliance.
Let the other person save face.
This principle is just fundamentally about respecting dignity. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry captured this so beautifully. "I have no right to say or do anything that diminishes a man in his own eyes. What matters is not what I think of him, but what he thinks of himself. Hurting a man in his dignity is a crime.
And Marshall A. Granger, the accountant, needing to let seasonal employees go, he didn't just brusquely fire them. He took time to praise their individual accomplishment, assure them the firm believed in them, wish them success.
So they left feeling okay.
They left feeling a lot better about being fired, apparently, and maintained keen personal affection for the firm. Preserving their self-respect was paramount, even in a tough situation.
It's about understanding the deep human need to maintain dignity. Like that female manager in one of Carnegie's classes who made an error in a report. She admitted it, shaking with fright, promised to redo it.
And the boss.
Instead of blowing up, her boss thanked her, told her errors weren't unusual on new projects, expressed confidence in her, assured her it was lack of experience, not ability. She left with her head up in the air, determined that I would never let that boss of mine down again.
Praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise.
Animal trainers use this constantly, right? They praise the moment a dog shows even the slightest improvement. Jess Lair, a psychologist, put it so eloquently. Praise is like sunlight to the warm human spirit. We cannot flower and grow without it. And B.F. Skinner's research confirms this. It shows that when criticism is minimized and praise emphasized, the good things people do will be reinforced and the poorer things will atrophy for lack of attention.
That truly highlights the psychological power of positive reinforcement. Think about Charles Dickens. As a young man struggling to write, he was just thrilled when one editor praised his first accepted manuscript, even though there was no pay. That praise, the recognition, changed his whole life, steering him toward his eventual literary success. It shows how encouragement can literally alter a person's trajectory.
Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to.
Henry Hank, a service manager, had this mechanic whose work was declining. Instead of scolding, Henke appealed to his pride. He said, "Bill, you are a fine mechanic. You've been in this line of work for a good number of years. Because you have been such an outstanding mechanic in the past, I felt sure you would want to know that I am not happy with this situation."
Setting a high bar based on past performance.
Exactly. Bill immediately improved because he had that reputation Mr. Hank had given him to live up to.
It's amazing how deeply people internalize the roles and expectations placed upon them. Mrs. Ruth Hopkins, the fourth grade teacher, faced Tommy T., the school's notorious bad boy.
As she do.
When greeting her new students, she looked Tommy directly in the eyes and said, "Tommy, I understand you are a natural leader. I'm going to depend on you to help me make this class the best class in the fourth grade this year." She reinforced this by complimenting everything he did. With that reputation to live up to, even a 9-year-old wouldn't let her down. It transformed his behavior from the inside out.
Make the fault seem easy to correct.
Lowell Thomas, described as a superb artist in human relations, used this when Carnegie, knowing nothing about bridge, refused to play. Thomas didn't push. He just said, "Why, Dale, it is no trick at all. Bridge will be a cinch for you. It's right up your alley."
Made it sound simple.
Exactly. He made it seem easy, appealed to Carnegie's existing knowledge, got him to play instantly, lowered the barrier to entry.
That's a great example of reducing perceived barriers. Yili Culbertson, whose bridge books sold millions, he told Carnegie he never would have become a professional if a young woman hadn't assured him he had a flair for it. Made the game seem achievable despite his initial struggles. When you believe something is within your grasp, you're much more likely to try, right?
Make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest.
This last leadership principle is about framing your suggestion in a way that aligns with the other person's desires or makes them feel good about complying. Colonel Edward M. House, again, tasked with telling William Jennings Bryan he wouldn't be the peace emissary. Tough job.
How did he handle it?
Explained that President Wilson felt it would be unwise for anyone to do this officially and that Bryan's going would attract a great deal of attention. He practically told Bryan he was too important for the job, and Bryan was satisfied.
That's clever. It's about giving them a compelling reason that appeals to their self-interest or sense of importance. Dale O'Ferrier got his son, Jeff, to pick up pears under the tree, a chore the kid hated. Made a deal. "For every bushel basket full of pears you pick up, I'll pay you $1. But after you are finished, for every pear I find left in the yard, I'll take away $1. Jeff not only picked up all the pears, but apparently tried to pull more off the trees to fill the baskets. He was happy because it was a challenge, a game, turned a chore into an opportunity. Recap for part 3. Be a leader.
Okay, these 9 principles will help you lead and inspire others without causing offense or resentment.
1. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Always start positive.
2. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. Be subtle.
3. Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. Show humility.
4. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Empower them.
5. Let the other person save face. Respect their dignity.
6. Praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise. Encourage growth.
7. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. Inspire them.
8. Make the fault seem easy to correct. Lower the barrier. And 9. Make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. Frame it positively. Outro. Well, that was a truly illuminating deep dive into Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. We've seen how powerful these principles are, really vividly illustrated by those stories from history, business, everyday life.
And what truly connects all these principles, I think, is a profound understanding of fundamental human nature. Our universal desire for importance, for appreciation, for respect. It's kind of the psychological bedrock upon which all effective human interaction is built.
And the book's enduring popularity, right? From its unexpected success way back in 1937 to its continued relevance today, it shows this isn't just faddish advice. It touches on those deepest, most fundamental human needs, like that University of Chicago survey clearly showed.
Absolutely. These principles aren't merely theoretical. They are practical, tried and true methods developed from thousands of real-world experiences. They truly can revolutionize lives, leading to increased sales, promotions, happier homes, profound personal fulfillment. The countless testimonials in the book itself speak to that.
So what does all this mean for you listening right now? It means that by consciously applying these principles, you can fundamentally transform your interactions, whether it's in your personal life, with your family, or in your career. It's about becoming more effective, more influential, and ultimately finding more happiness and success in your connections.
Which leads us to consider something important. Dale Carnegie himself, despite writing this incredibly profound book, admitted that he frequently found it difficult to apply every single principle he advocated, especially, in moments of displeasure. It's often just easier to criticize, find fault, or talk about what you want.
That's a great point. It's a continuous journey, isn't it? Not a destination. So maybe for a final provocative thought, if even the author struggled with consistent application, what one specific principle from today's deep dive will you commit to practicing just once this week? Knowing, as Carnegie said, that only knowledge that is used sticks in your mind. Recap all principles. Let's quickly recap all the powerful principles we covered in this deep dive. 6 ways to make people like you.
1. Become genuinely interested in other people.
2. Smile.
3. Remember that a person's name is, the sweetest sound.
4. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves.
5. Talk in terms of the other person's interests.
6. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. How to win people to your way of thinking.
1. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it.
Show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, "You're wrong."
3. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically.
4. Begin in a friendly way.
5. Get the other person saying, yes, yes, immediately.
6. Let the other person do a great deal of the talking.
7. Let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers.
8. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view.
9. Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires.
10. Appeal to the nobler motives.
11. Dramatize your ideas.
12. Throw down a challenge. Be a leader. How to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment.
1. Begin with praise and honest appreciation.
2. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly.
3. Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person.
4. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders.
5. Let the other person save face.
6. Praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise.
7. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to.
8. Make the fault seem easy to correct.
9. Make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. We truly hope this deep dive encourages you to explore these powerful ideas further and maybe apply them in your daily life.
Until next time, keep digging, keep learning, and keep connecting. That's it from us today. This is Lisa and Jim signing off from Pod Talk. Hope you all have an informative session. Please like and subscribe for more such sessions. We hope to see you soon with a brand new topic of discussion.